So
people
let me
just
just
coming
see
in.
what Jean said. Jean says, no, never change a person. We we are in it together. You're in it together. Change comes from within. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it. Malcolm says she tried it, but I am who I was when we got together. She tried to make him change, but he's saying he didn't change. He is who he was when they got together.
Okay.
So the topic is when you're deciding, and I say a life partner or something serious because I only want to really address people who are planning to be in a serious relationship or marriage. And when you meet this person, do you feel like it is appropriate once you get together to incorporate or ask them to make changes, or do you meet a person and be like, what you see is what you get, this is who I am, and if I grow and change, that's a bonus. But if I don't, will you still love me and want to be with me as is?
Right. So that's kind of not kind of like what we were saying, but
Well, that's why I wanted you to present it.
well, no, that's fine. So for me, so I would say it's circumstantial, right? The reason I say circumstantial is because it depends on what the change is being presented. Okay. In other words, you in a situation, you like the person. Um, it's some things about them that they could do to be better, right? Or to grow or whatever the case is. And you present that to them and they say, nah, I'm not interested or whatever the case is. For me, I believe that you shouldn't have to force growth. As a couple, I think that you both should better each other, right? So, like somebody says, depend on the change. I agree. You should want to better each other, is what I say, right? If you're not growing, you're not living. That's my motto. Like that's some how I feel about life. Every single day, I try to do something to better myself from yesterday. That's just who I am. So I try to couple myself with somebody with a mindset like that wants to grow and be better, do better. So for me, a person who says, well, this is just how I was raised, or this is just who I am, or that kind of shit, that doesn't work for me because I was raised a certain way and I had certain beliefs. But when you coming together with someone, I think that your belief system has to kind of be able to yield. That's what they mean when they say you have to uh, compromise. Compromise means I'm I'm willing to grow with you. In other words, when you see something that can better me, I may don't know about it, but if you can see it, I think that you should want to better me. I should want to better you. So if you don't have a mate that wants to better you, I don't know that they love you. You understand what I'm saying? So if I meet someone and they know they have a habit that's not bettering them, and I say, I want you to grow, I'm trying to get you to do this. So, you might want to chill out on this. Man, this who I am, woo, woo, woo. Well, that's only because they don't want to grow. They want to be able to stay where they are because they're comfortable. That's a problem for me personally. So I wouldn't say I'm right or wrong or whatever the case is. I'll let the comments speak. But what I will say is I wouldn't want to be with a mate that does not want to grow in certain areas. Certain things, like I said, it's circumstantial. Certain things you may not need to grow, right? But certain things you may not realize that you need to grow. So, for instance, if you got a husband that he sits around, he smoke hella reefer, right? He smoke reefer all day, and so you know that he has the potential to do X, Y, and Z, but you don't say anything. Well, you're doing him a disservice because as a mate, you should want to better him. So that's when you step in and say, "Well, baby, you might want to slow down a little bit because you know you can be doing da 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 at this particular time." So that just means I love you enough to want to see you at your best. I'm not trying to tell you what the freak to do or none of that kind of buffoonery. What I'm trying to do is see you at your best. If I'm your mate and I don't want to see you at your best, I don't know what kind of mate I would be. So that's my why I would say change can be necessary. Not that you should change just because, I mean, not no goofy stuff. Stuff that matters in life. Some things really do matter in life and they need changing. So that's where I would say it's circumstantial. Circumstantial. Circumstantial.
Um, I'll use the example that you that you just used. Let me read this comment though. Miss Redmore, I had to go back up because I don't want people to feel left out. Miss
There's a
Redmore
few
said,
comments coming in now. People are coming in.
I'm going to catch up. Don't try to change anyone. If they never change and you can't live with them the way they are, you should not marry them. So I agree with you, Miss Redmore. I'm going to keep going down. I'm willing to grow and be a better person for myself and my lifetime partner. That's Net Lee. Yes, the one Yanni says yes. So it for yourself first. Okay.
I
That's
agree.
love a person as is, staying together and working through their differences, and growth comes with love. Love has no boundaries. I agree. Agree. Your partner is there to protect your future, not your feelings. That's Shelly.
Say that again.
Shelly said, your partner is there to protect your future, not your feelings.
I like that. I like that. And the future that you're protecting is with the person you're with. So it's not just their future, it's your future, right? So that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that you should just come in and be like, you shouldn't be doing this. And you should, I'm not saying be their mama or their daddy. What I'm saying is, as a mate, your the word help meet doesn't mean just come help with the bills or help clean up the house or help cook some food. It means help meet the needs. So it just simply means help me meet my higher standard. Maybe I don't see my higher standard. Maybe because of my background and my family upbringing, I can't recognize something that can be better. A lot of times that's the case. Well, my job is to let you see better in yourself by pointing it out to you. Now, your job is to receive it or not. I'm
Right. And
not
that's
supposed to
where
constantly do it. I'm not
that's
supposed
where
to
we
do
might
that
have an
every.
issue because okay, wait a minute. Ms. Redmore said, I want my partner to want better for themselves and for us, not because I nag or pressure them, but because they genuinely care about what we're building together. Um, and then yes, boom. So what you just said, Stan, I get it. You supposed to point something out to your mate and be like, hey, like you said, if the husband smokes weed all day and he's not, he could be doing better. You should say now, if he was smoking weed all day when y'all met and you still was cool with it then, and now y'all in a relationship and you see like, hey, you know what, you might want to cut back on that because I want you to be better. You should do that as the mate because you want them to be better. You want them to be their higher selves. But if that mate in that moment says, nah, I'm cool and this is what I was doing when we met and I don't want to stop smoking right now. Should you hammer them? Should you leave them? Or should you leave them alone and meet them where they are and be like, you know what, he was smoking when I met him. I knew who I was, knew who he was. So I'm gonna have to I put it out there and I'm gonna have to let him grow on his own. Or let
Well,
God come in and do something. But I what I'm gonna do? Beat it into him?
here's the thing though. You don't want to have to force growth on someone. You want them to want to grow,
Right.
right? You should not have to force growth, right? A person should be able to recognize what's good for them once it's presented.
Right.
Once it's presented, you should like a present. You know what a gift looks like. If somebody hands you a gift, you're not supposed to knock the shit on the ground and be done. You're supposed to take it and receive it. It's a
They
gift.
supposed to recognize it as a gift and want it
Yeah.
though. If they don't,
Well, that means they're not for you. That's where I'm going.
right. That
In
means you
my
didn't select the
mind,
right
and
person. You shouldn't select that person.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you feel you're forcing change on someone where it should be easy recognizable, then that person doesn't want to change. So then now that's where you have to make a sound decision, right? You have to say, okay, I don't think this cool for me because this change is necessary to fit the bill, right? For my life. If they, for instance, and this is kind of like a weird scenario, but I don't like people who smoke cigarettes, right? I have never dealt with a woman that smokes cigarettes. So if I met a, well, see, that wouldn't work though, because as soon as I met her, I
Right.
would
You would
say, hell
know.
nah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that wouldn't work. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if something is a deal breaker for you and you in this relationship and you love a lot of other things about this person, but this thing right here is an issue and it can be fixed. So that's when I think the conversation has to be had and the person should adhere to, the change if it's not something that's going to be a detriment to them. If it's harmful to them or it's going to harm them or throw their lifestyle away, then that's different. But if it's not harmful or it's not going to be a hindrance or some detriment to their life, then how come they couldn't yield to you just because they didn't grow up that way?
Again, I feel like it's unfair to people in relationships when that happens, because it's like, okay, this is what I was when you decided, let me pick this person, let me get that, and unless the person didn't expose that they are whatever, unless it was like hidden and then it came out, that's different. But if there are things that are disclosed, or you know, we, and this is shallow, but this is just a good example of what I'm saying. If I when I was single back before I met you, I knew that in conversation, if a man said to me, "Oh, I don't do oral sex," I'm not going to marry him. I'm not going to marry him and then be like, "Well, we are married, so you should do what your wife wants you to do." No, that's dumb. That's unfair. He already said what he don't do. And so why would I proceed if that's something that I want? That's dumb to me. And it's
And so,
unfair to the person. So when someone discloses who they are up front and you choose them, you're choosing that too. If it never changes, you're saying, I'm okay with that. That's
and
the way it
so,
should be.
and so to that point, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. As a man, you meet a woman, you really like her a lot, you love her, right? You locked in, you would consider marrying her. So at this point, this is where change is necessary. I don't do such and such. Okay. Well, that goes into the new category is I didn't do such and such until I met you. Right. Now that I've met you, I'm gonna learn to do such and such because I like you enough to change. See, change should come if you're interested enough in someone to build. Then certain things you have to change. That's what something that's not a detriment. It's not going to kill them. It's not going to harm them. It's not going to F up their lifestyle. So now at this point, you have to learn how to eat some coochie. Like
I
that's what
just
the hell
don't
you
agree
have to
with
do.
that.
And so as a man, I'm telling you, so that's what should happen instead of throwing scrapping a good situation because that's not something that's going to be harmful. And you should have been grew the hell up and ate some coochie. So that's not, that's not you, now you're just catching up from the 80s. So it's not like, you the first person to eat some coochie. You would be the last. So it's time for you to eat some coochie. So what I'm saying is you wouldn't scrap a good situation for that unless you're immature. That's when change should come into play. You don't just say, well, I don't do that. Okay, I didn't do that before you, is what the new rhetoric is. That's the new rhetoric. I didn't do that before you, but now I like your ass a lot, enough to eat it. So just show me what to do and we're gonna get that popping. And so that's grown people stuff. To say to that person, well, I don't do that because I don't do the so you still immature, right? And so that's what I mean. It's not hurting them, right? It's not harmful to them. It's not against what they believe. That's another subject. So
But it's
yeah.
just as easy to go get someone who does the things that you like. That's what I'm saying. We make life hard because we try to force things because we like this stuff and then we don't like that stuff, but then we're gonna take the stuff we don't like and fix that so then we can like everything. Where you could just
Well,
pick someone that does the things that you like.
well, no one on this earth is gonna just do every damn thing you like.
That's
So here's
correct.
so this is where you have to have common damn sense. And you have to understand that you don't throw the baby away for the bathwater. That's what I'm sitting here telling you. You don't cut your nose off to spite your face. It's your damn face. And so you don't throw a good situation in the trash because he didn't eat your coochie. You just teach the nigga how to eat some coochie. And he should be willing if he like you like that. Cause he didn't do it before. He didn't find nobody he wanted to marry. He wasn't gonna eat no coochie. Well, when he met you, he gonna eat whatever you say because he like you. So just show him. Show the nigga what to do and he gonna do it. But that's if he real enough. Now that's where this is a perfect example. I'm glad you used that for change. So that would be a change for him. Okay. Well, that's growth. I didn't do that before. Well, you shouldn't. You don't have to do that with everybody. You keep your face up the high part, not the low part, unless y'all really locked in. Don't be down there. Be up here. And so now that y'all locked in and you like her enough to marry her, go ahead down there. You know what I'm saying?
See, but that's again, it's just as good because it just shows a different. I'm a type of person, I would never even get that far because I'm gonna have these conversations up front, and I'm gonna already know I'm not gonna spend time dealing with someone to that I already know that there's a deal breaker involved. If you know that there's a deal breaker involved up front, even if you really like the person, why even proceed?
well, they just told you they're gonna learn how to eat it. They said he said I'm willing. Now, what the hell? What
Well,
you
that's
want him to
because you
do?
changed the scenario. The scenario I presented was no, this person says this is something I don't do. And we won't get to the point where we like each other so much.
Well, no, no. That's like the cigarette person. Like no one in the world that smokes cigarettes will tell you they dated me. I
Right.
don't. I
You're
they
not
lying.
going to get to that point.
But, but say you meet a woman and she's smoking cigarettes and you have a because you're gonna get to know her by talking to her. You talking, and so you say the one deal breaker with me is cigarettes. I don't do cigarettes, and she be like, oh shit. So then she says, well, I'm gonna be honest. I I smoke cigarettes, but I like you enough to don't though. I will not do that if it means that I can have you because I don't have to have cigarettes. I've been trying to stop you, my reason. So if
And
you
that's nice. That's nice when people
so
find
what
that.
I'm saying is that would be grown up of her, right? That's a big change in her life. A, she don't need to smoke cigarettes. B, she shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. And C, that's some loser ass shit to be smoking cigarettes. So that's helping her life, right? It's adding life to her life, her health, everything good. So that's a good change. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So instead of her bucking the system, talking about how the hell she grew up and how her country ass want to smoke a cigarette, she should understand that this is a better play for her life. And now you get to have this man you love, and you can grow the hell up and don't smoke Newports no more, or Cools, or nothing, Marlboro, whatever the hell you smoke. You can knock it off. And so those things are good changes. You have to know what's good for you. Sometimes people don't know what's good for them. So they'll buck the system even if it's good for them. They just don't want to change, is what they don't want to do. And so I don't believe that you should change everything about you. I don't think that you should change things that's good about you. I think that you should grow. I think you should grow. So if things are not working for you, even if it's working for you, if it's not a good situation, I think that you should be willing to change if it's something that your mate requires, if it's not a detriment. If it betters you, you definitely should change. And I don't think your mate should tell you to change nothing that's not going to better you. That's my opinion. So it just depends on who you're dealing with and how you look at it. So what you're saying is what you see is what you get. I'm not down to change. That's what you're saying. I'm not down to change. And a man has to just accept everything about me. That's what you're saying?
I am saying that what you see is what you get. And when you see something that you like enough, 80% of it that you like, the other 20%, you leave it alone or don't proceed with that person. That's what I'm saying. Because, like you said, nobody's perfect. And I'm not going to meet, if I meet a man, like when I met you, do I like everything? No. Do I wish some things would change? Absolutely. But I liked enough where I wasn't willing to even bother to mention the things that I don't like because over time, we will grow together organically, we will compromise things organically, and you'll either change some things because you want to or you won't. But if you don't ever change anything, I selected someone that I would still love and want to be with regardless if you never change a thing about who you are. And I believe that that's an easier recipe for forever when you meet a person where they are and you decide, my mother taught me this, take the thing that you hate the most about them and assume that they never ever change it. Could you still love them and want to stay with them? If your answer is yes, then that's your person. If your answer is nah, if that person wants to be with me forever, they're gonna have to fix some things. You should not marry that person. That is that's how I think.
All right. So, do you see any more comments? Anybody saying anything?
Are
Because I
you
want to
open
hear
to
from.
such and such? I gotta scroll down. Woo woo woo. I don't know what that means. woo, woo, woo. Positive compromises. Okay, so it's also compromising. You do have to compromise in relationships. It's no one fit all if it's worth it. I agree. And I think compromise can be looked depending on how a person thinks. Like I heard you say earlier, Stan, you were just like, a person has to be willing to compromise. And I agree with that. But I think it works both ways. So compromise in the scenario you use with the husband who, needed to change, smoke weed all day, the compromise could be, well, this is how he was when I met him. He's not ready to change. I've mentioned it to him. He don't want to. So I'm going to leave that alone and continue to love him until he's ready to change. But if I continue to be like, you need to stop doing this because that's not good for you. You need to stop doing that because that's not good for you. I feel like I'm wrong for doing that because that's how I met that man. Who am I to make him different, even if it's going to be better for him? I know it's going to be better. He should know it's going to be better. But right now, he don't want to. Whatever his reasons are, he don't want to. The compromise, if I love him, is, all right, I'm going to roll with it.
And so for me, I guess that's the weirdo in me. Like for me, I don't want to be with someone who don't want to be better, right? So I would never get in your space, not you personally, but a person that I'm seeing, I wouldn't get in their space unless it was for the good, right? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even speak on it if it's not for the good. So, for me, if you speak on something that's for my good, I want to be better. So it's not going to be a fight for me. I want to be better, right? So it's not even a compromise at that point. You better than me, right? Um, I see a different Gucci Man and Gucci Man with Keisha Cole than I've seen Gucci Man single. It's a different play, right? That's because she grew his ass up. She showed him some plays about business. She showed him some plays about life, and he just cleaned his life up and wanted to be a family man. He wasn't never that. So what I'm showing you is a person can tear you down or build you up. And if a person's trying to build you up, they're going to tell you things that's going to better you. That's what building you up looks like. And so you have to know what's good for you in order to receive it. Some people will sabotage their lives. Some people don't want better because they haven't seen better. And so they will not adhere to something that can make a better life for them, no matter even if they know it can make a better life for them. And I think that's sad. For me, if you have a play for me that's going to better my life, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. If you say, baby, listen, I understand you do this, but if you blah, 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 it can blah, blah, blah. It's done. It's just that simple. Because I know if you love me, then I know you there to better me. And so I shouldn't make you my opposition if we on the same team. So I'm not going to play with you like you not on my team when you are on my team. So if you was opposition, I wouldn't adhere to you. I would think that you playing with me. But if you were on my team, I doubt very seriously if you should be trying to play with me. So if you
So
telling me something, it's for my good.
right. And so if we stick to the same scenario of the husband who the wife was trying to better him by saying, babe, you could be doing so much better. You shouldn't be doing this all day, every day. And he'd be like, I'm not there yet. I don't want to stop smoking. This is what I do. This is what I've been doing. And this is what I do. And you knew this before you married me. And if you was ever going to have a problem with it, why'd you, like, is he wrong at that point? Is he wrong for saying, nah, I don't
He's
want to change?
immature. Yeah, he's immature, and he needs to grow up because she just told him something that could really better him, and which means it would better them. So instead of smoking weed all day, he could put some space in between it and go make a play or two and get some money.
Do
And
you
so
think
that,
that she should have raised her concern before she married him, though?
yes, most definitely. But you can't force a person to change. So when he say, "Nah, I don't want to do that," that's when you don't marry him because you say, "Well, that's what he is about." But before
Right.
I marry you, I'm gonna come to you and present. So I remember I used to tell you when I first met you, marriage looked different. You said so you switched up when you wanted to marry me. You had different expectations. You're supposed to. You don't supposed to expect the same thing from a girlfriend and a wife. So you show me the potential as a girlfriend to be a wife, but you're not supposed to. you know what I'm saying, dead the situation just because now that you're white. You're supposed to turn it up a notch. You're not supposed to, so you're supposed to not fall off the wagon, but build it up. And so this is why you need to be able to listen to somebody when they say, I think if you should do, at least give it a shot. It ain't gonna hurt you to try. Because if you try and it betters you, then now what? If it doesn't work, then okay, you say I can't listen to him that much because it didn't work. But if you try and it works for your life, then it helps both of y'all, right? You grew and he benefited.
Right.
You grew and he benefited.
Right. And so these are the important things that people really, really, really have to talk about before they say I do. Because, you got to ask certain really, really, really good questions. And I've learned that through our own experience. Like, you got to find out things up front and say, hey, are you going to be willing to do XYZ if we get married? Are you going to be willing to change this? And the person say, well, nah, then you be like, okay, well then this ain't it, because it's gonna be too hard.
And so somebody's saying on here, communication is key. So for me, if you're not willing to compromise, you should never get married, right? If you're not willing to grow with your mate, then you should stay single. Because a single person doesn't have to do a damn thing but wake up. They don't have to grow. They don't have to be mature. They don't have to be anything. They can be whatever they want. But if you want to connect with another person, that's a detriment to their life if you just some loser that don't want to grow and don't want to do shit. So now you're a detriment to that person because you dead weight. You don't want to change. You don't want to do nothing. You just, oh, this is how my mom and daddy raised me. Okay, well, your country ass is need to grow up because your mom and daddy raised you. Now you need to raise yourself. And raising yourself means let me differentiate between what's good and what they said. Let me make a difference between what mom and daddy was talking about and what's really good now because I'm a grown ass person and I know what's good for my life now. Mom and daddy them be a little slow some days. So let me see what's good and I'm going to throw the bad out in the trash. I don't need to just do what the hell mom and daddy was talking about because mom and daddy them raised me when I was a kid. Well, I'm grown. And so now let me make some grown up decisions by using my mind, right? And some of this bullshit mom and daddy was talking about, I'm going to give it back.
But what if you are under the impression that what you did learn from your mother and father was okay? Like, what if you never identified that what they did was wrong? What if you think that the way you was raised was okay?
So you think everything your mother and father said to you was just okay?
I'm not talking about me. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, what if that's the case though? No,
Well,
because I'll
that's
use
not
myself
good.
for example. Like, for example, there were things that my mother and father that I learned from my parents that I didn't think was okay. For example, both of my parents used to be heavy cigarette smokers. I knew I would never ever want to do that, right? Ever. I don't want to do that. That shit ain't cool for me. I never touched a cigarette a day in my life. My father used to drink heavily. I knew I did not want to become a functioning alcoholic like my daddy was. So those are things that they've displayed that I was like, I know I don't want that. I knew that I didn't want a relationship where we don't hug and kiss and slow dance and go on dates and be loving and fuzzy. I knew I didn't want that, but that's what they showed.
Right.
So there were things that I recognized from my parents that I didn't want. But those were those things. And the other things, I'm like, they did a great job.
Right. And so you are who you surround yourself with. It depends on what your world look like, right? So your parents, not you in particular, but parents can be doing a great job, right? But I'm talking about the things that wasn't so great. You have to. So when you grow up, you grow up. So that's when you start realizing in life what's good, what's not so good. When you grow up, and so then you reflect, you look back, and you say, that ain't nah. I don't like my mother tried to force me to go into the military. She sent me to a recruiter and everything because she said, she thought I was bad. So she was trying to get me out of harm's way. Well, I didn't think military was for me, so hell with military. I don't care what my mother was talking about. I wasn't going. And so my point is you have to know you and you have to know what's good, what's bad, and what's ugly. So you have to also understand. My parents said this. Well, that was in that time and it made it work for them at that time. But right now, in this day and time, that's not cool. Or whatever the case is. You have to know. And so then you apply what's good and you throw the rest in the trash.
Right. That's what
You
I just
can't just
said.
think everything your parents told you that's what they do.
Right.
No,
I agree.
it ain't what they do.
I identified the things that I thought were bad and I was threw those away.
Right. And
And
so
so
it's to each his own.
there
Huh?
may be things that I didn't identify that was bad that someone else who encounters me may be like, you thought that was okay? I, I didn't. I did.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I know that's true about you. And so
Right.
you'll stick to that instead of trying to yield to your relationship. You'll yield to what you know, my parents did this or whatever the case is. That's the type of person you are. And so that's what I'm saying. Like for me, my parents could have told me a lot of things. But at this age and stage of my life, it has to be befitting for what I'm trying to do going forward. Or damn what my parents said. I don't care what they say. So, because I'm a grown ass man. And so my parents may not have told me. I have to use my common sense now and use my mind and say, okay, I heard what they said, but it
Right.
doesn't apply to my life. So I'll put that in the trash. I only apply what applies. So, you know, for me, I'm if anybody in my life that's there for the good, I want to take everything they have to heart. I don't want to throw nothing away. If they telling me, yeah, well, if you know, baby, you do this, then blah, you know, I'm gonna do that. Okay, if I didn't grow up doing that or I didn't know about that, so what? What she just told me. Well, so now I'm on that because I'm trying to be better. And I know she want better for me. So now it ain't nothing to fight about. Why am I arguing with her about how I grew up and what I don't normally do and all that? Who give a damn?
Right.
It don't
But
matter what
that
I don't
goes
normally
back
do.
to saying the importance of selecting people that think that have that alignment. Like, like there was a person on here who said DMV success with style. That is a person who has that same mindset. Like if you're not changing and you ain't growing and you ain't constantly changing, then what are you even doing? But these are the types of things that people got to ask up front. Like, what is your view on changing? Like this kind of conversation. Then we would have known a lot of stuff. We didn't have these deep types of conversations about this kind of stuff. But I think that if people do that up front, then they'll know early on this probably is not my person because they're not at a place in their life right now where they're interested in or desire to make certain changes. And that's not, that just means you have to leave that person where they are.
That's exactly what it means. And so, you know, that's where you have to be honest with your mate though. Like if someone comes to you and they saying, well, da 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 and all this, if you know you don't want to change and you know you're not about growth, then you cut that off right there because you already see what they want. They want you to grow and be a better person. Well, you ain't into that. You into being who the hell you are today. And so then you need to nip this in the bud instead of having them stress themselves out every other day about what you should do and can't do and would do and should do. You should just say, I'm not interested in that. I'm really not that girl. And so I'm just be honest with you. I don't care about that. That's not where my mind at. So that way, this person can keep it moving. They don't feel obligated at this point to tell you anything else, to try to grow you, show you anything, because you're not interested. So now they know it because you told them. So now they can get out your way and let you be with somebody who's not interested in growing and being better and none of that shit. And y'all can be where y'all at together.
And that's why these conversations are so important up front. Does shining through said, for me, I didn't think to ask these things when I got married, but now that I'm older, I will definitely dig more into these things because it makes a difference. It really, really does.
It's a lot of
I
things. It's a
I
lot
will
of things that you
definitely
have. Go ahead.
have these kind of conversations way up front because that way a person will know what they're getting with me and what they're not getting, and then they can decide.
Yeah, you have to have conversations about your spirituality, what you believe in as your God, how you raise your children, if you have
Yep.
any, what your expectations as parenting.
Yep.
All of
All of
those
that stuff.
things matter, right?
And then I think we would have known even back then. You probably would have been like, oh, yeah, no, she ain't the one. Because she don't. You, I can tell
Right.
y'all, I was really ignorant when he first met me. And he was just like, it's really important to me that, the lady that this is when we first met, the lady for me is into the word and has a close relationship with God. And I was like, well, I love God and all of that. And I say my prayers. And he was just like, well, will you do a 30-day challenge with me and read something spiritual of your choice, whatever you want to read, and then we review it together for 30 days. 30. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm
Yeah,
not
you was
into
a
that.
whole devil. You was the devil. You was just like
Let me finish though.
bah
I said
humbug. I
no.
said, look at this demon
I
nigga here.
said, nope, I ain't into that. But I was honest, y'all. I said, this is who I am. I gave Stan my hand. I said, here you go. This is who I am.
Yeah, you was like, I don't want to read a damn thing.
Yeah,
But
I was up front.
but
You know what you're getting. I said, I don't do that.
wait, well, okay, know what you're getting. But what did I say? Let's just be friends. I'm cool on you. Ain't that what I told you? Once you told me that, I said, okay, I just want to be your friend.
Right.
I don't want that.
And I knew that was a risk. And the next few days, I was like, he may never call me again. You did.
Yeah.
You ended up calling me again, like a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. I thought you might or you might not. And I knew it was risky because I remember it so well. And I'm like, and I like him and I'm digging him, but I got to be who I am. I don't want to be fake.
And so for me, if you don't have no God business, I don't want to fool with you too much. Like, so as soon as you said what you said, I told you I just want to be your friend. I'm cool on you. We don't need to talk about nothing else. If you ain't on nothing, I ain't on nothing. Like, I'm on God business. I don't care who I see. If she don't have nothing to do with God, I don't have nothing to do with her.
Shelly, back then, no, I wasn't. I told him that I wasn't, and I meant what I said. He continued, obviously, because y'all see we got married. But no, I wasn't open to it back then. And as time went on, I was just like, I put the Bible app on my phone.
So then, no, wait,
like,
back up, because this is what you did. You called me, and you told me, guess what? I put the Bible app on my phone. That's what you called me, because I wasn't fooling with you. Like, I'm telling you right now, I said let's be friends. I was dead ass. Like, when it comes to, I'm gonna tell, I don't care. I don't know if y'all don't know me like that on here. I talk crazy sometimes. Every once in a while, this damn allure, whatever, kicking. But when I tell you I'm serious right now, I'm dead ass when it comes to my God business, right? I don't put nothing before that. I'm in the morning meditating, praying, doing this and that. I didn't even know her. I was on that. I've been on this for like 20 years. So when I met Terry, she wasn't that. She wasn't on none of that. So I knew that if we didn't get equally yoked, we couldn't be together. So I was trying to see where she was. So I asked her to do the 30-30 challenge, 30 minutes.
And I was honest
whatever.
with him.
And so
and it tore our marriage. That was one of the reasons that our marriage got torn apart, because
yes, for sure.
I still stuck with it. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
You stuck with it for almost our whole marriage.
Yep.
And so you didn't decide to get into the Word of God until I said I don't want to be married. Yep. That's when you said, okay, wait, what's going on?
But throughout the marriage, you continuously said you need to do it. You need to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Because
I know that if you're not with God, then it's another energy that's going to intervene. I know that. So why would I want to lock in with somebody who's going to let Satan come and lock in when I'm not with him? I'm with God. I'm not into that. So why would I let someone locked in with me have Satan as their friend and be like, yeah, come on, Satan, we're going to go to the party. The nigga ain't invited. That's what I'm saying. I didn't invite him to no party over here. Never. I banned the hell out of this nigga.
But the point I'm just trying to make for our viewers is what we talked about earlier really did play out with us. When you meet someone, like Stan met someone, and they tell you who they are, they probably telling you the truth. They tell you, they say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, and I'm that. But I'm also.
So I thought that growth was inevitable, right? When you get a certain age, growth should be a part of your life. So it's a part of my life. It's a lifestyle that I grow. So I just assumed that you was not going to stay in the place that I met you. I assumed that you would want to be better, do better, and act better. So I don't know people that fight against God. I didn't never see that. So
Shelly wants to know where I am now. Shelly, I am so different now. I have, the first thing I do every day is give my time to God before I even do anything. And I have a prayer call every day at 8:15. And I listen to my gospel music all day long. And I listen to different, Stan turned me on to people like Bill Winston. I even found Bill Winston now on a podcast. And Stan turned me on to what's my other guy that I like? Omar Thabot.
Right. So when I first
I
when I
am
first
now,
when
but
I first when I first met you, that's when I was turning you on to all of this stuff, right? That was 10 years ago. And so you was not interested in anything I was interested in. So
right.
that's where the disruption came into the marriage, just being honest. Like me and you was unequally yoked because you decided to go against God's principles and you had your own principles in the whole nine. You can't ever go against God and win. So I knew that. So I was saddened by the fact that you didn't want to adhere to nothing that was going on because I knew I wasn't going to change. I'm not jumping the fence for no human on God. I'm going to stay with God. Like I swear to God. So like
Um,
for me, that's where it gets twisted.
Shining Through says, Terry, do you regret not doing it? Do you regret not doing it? Yes, I regret how long it took me. Because again, it was the demise of my marriage. Because again, I eventually now I'm a totally different, changed woman. But now it's like Stan said, she took too late. She took too long.
Yeah, I mean, so no disrespect to you, but those tools that God told me to give to you was for the basement or the beginning of the marriage, so that it can be something to stand on. So no disrespect, but you decided to only adhere to it once it was over. Like
Shirley
once
said, but why on your time, Stan?
it wasn't my time; it was God's time. See, God don't play with you forever. That's why He killed the people in the wilderness. What's the girl? Who I'm talking to? What's her name?
Shirley.
Shelley. So if you read the Bible and you'll realize that the Israelites were in the wilderness, Shelley, and God gave them 40 years and only supposed to be 11-day journey. And so he killed that ass. And he killed them. I ain't say he punched him in the throat. He killed them. That's because disobedience come with a price. So God gave me a prophecy, Shelley, to tell Terry when we was only 2 months in the door. And I told her every month for 7 freaking years. Not 7 years is what I'm saying. So I consistently told her this is what God told me, and she knows the prophecy. I know the prophecy, and it came to pass because God don't never lose. So sadly, that's what really was the demise of us. The fact that we couldn't get on God business together, and you need God business to fight Satan business. Just factual. I don't care who you are. You need to be unified in God so that you can fight Satan because the world will crush you if you don't have a unified front. You have to have a mate that understands that Satan will get on your man and crush him every day when he go out that house so that he can come in that house beat down and vice versa with you. So if you unified, then you can use God business to counteract all of that foolishness together. But it has to be a unified front or you're going to lose. Your house is going to crumble. A house divided can't stand. That's what they say. I didn't make it up. That's what they said. I didn't say it.
Shirley
But a
says,
house
how many
divided can't
times
stand.
have you been back to God? Are you asking me, Shirley, or Stan? And DMV success with style, Terry. I mean, Stan. Maybe Terry was your assignment. That
Oh my God. Oh my, who said that?
um DMV success with style.
I'm gonna send you a T-shirt or a pen or hat or coat or jacket or shoes or something. And the reason I say that is because Terry know why I said it. I don't even have to elaborate. Um, you know why I'm saying that, right? So
Saying what?
the Holy Spirit must have revealed that to that person. That's something that I've never
Oh
heard
yeah, yeah,
nobody
yeah.
say.
About the assignment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Um.
Terry was an assignment, in my opinion, and now we both agree to it. That's why she was so stubborn at first. I tried to get Terry to come to God for 7 years. Did I not? 7 years straight. And so she denied me for 7 years. So I knew that the house was crumbling. Yeah, you have to have God in your house. So let this be a lesson to everybody listening to us. If you are going to engage in a serious relationship, especially today, you have to be rooted in God. I'm not talking about no woo, no spook type stuff. I'm talking about really busting open books, praying together, reading together, meditating together, and being serious. If you don't do that, Satan is going to crumble your household. It's not just me that it happened to. It'll happen to you. I promise you, because Satan don't want a unified front. So he wants to divide your home. Proverbs 14 wants you to give you a woman who will tear her own house down, is what Proverbs 14 says. The reason why is because you won't be in alignment. And so then, if you have, I have an assignment on my life. If you have somebody to come in your life, they have to understand your mate. You have to understand your mate. Know the assignment that they have. Help them with the assignment. Don't ever take them off of the assignment. And then you guys will be rooted in that business together, and God will stand for both of y'all. He won't let the enemy crumble your household. Because he coming, whether it's finances, health, whatever he can think of, he coming. But if your front is unified and you standing on God business, he ain't got no business over there. You gotta understand that. And so I understood that before I knew her. I understood all of this. I was been in the Word of God for 25 years. So I understood what I'm telling y'all now then. And so I was saddened by the fact that we had to break that news to you guys because it shouldn't have happened. But I'm just showing you that the devil is real. And so he divided our household up. And you guys, I bear witness today. That's true. I don't even know I told y'all that. But that's exactly what happened. And the prophecy was that if my wife would not come and chase God with me, Satan would enter our home and divide it, and she would become my enemy. That was the prophecy. When did I tell you that prophecy?
When we met, or when we was getting married.
No, I knew you 2 months.
Right. I said when we met, or
Two
one or the
months.
other. So
I,
it was
I
when we
said, I
met.
said, I said, don't think I'm a weirdo, but I'm different. I have an assignment from God and I'm a prophet. So God gave me downloads, is what I said. So I said, I'm gonna tell you this because it's very important, because God told me to tell you this, and you have to take me serious. I was that serious. And it was 2 months. And it's 10 years later. So it took 7 years for you to even care about the prophecy. So I'm only saying that to say God will never, ever lose any battle. If he give you instructions, or in the word of God, it says obedience is better than sacrifice. And it just simply means no matter what you do, you better adhere to what God tell you, because you're going to lose. And so don't be the example of that. If God is telling you something, I don't care how much you hate it, man, get on it and handle that business. It'll benefit you. Even if you hate it, it'll benefit you because he knows what's better for you than what you know. So I'm only saying that to you as a testament to what happened to us. We still love each other. We don't have no issues with each other. You know, Terry's like somebody I will always have love for. I don't care if it's 1,000 years down the road, because this young lady has been something special in my life since I ever met her. So I could never discount her. Never would I do that. So when y'all hear me on here talking to her, I just speak from the heart. But this somebody right here who been riding for me since day one. So don't get it twisted. Like, I ain't got no nothing but love for Terry. But I'm an honest. I speak honest and from the heart. That's all. So when y'all hear me on here, that's all you hear. Just being honest with you. That's my girl for life. Like, we locked in. I don't want nothing less than that for us. No joke.
And I want
So
the best for him, and I'm going to always look out for him. I'm going to always love him, and all of those things. I just feel like I was his assignment, and we just we didn't talk. We didn't ask these right. I don't feel like we talked about the right things up front.
I mean,
I think
well,
if we
some of
would
the
have
stuff
learned
we
some
didn't know
things,
to talk about, though. To be honest,
I think
some of
that
the
you,
some of the
I think
things
that
we
if
didn't
we had
know.
talked about how our parent talked about our thoughts on, like our thoughts on changing, I think that you would have learned like more of my stubbornness. Someone said on here, Stan, you're stubborn too. He very much is. He don't
Yeah, in
admit it,
certain areas, I'm stubborn.
but
Certain
he
things I'm
is.
not gonna move on. That's true. That's very true.
He's
And
very
you are
much
the same
stubborn
way.
and
So
very stuck in his
it was
ways.
like this. Yeah, I'm
And
stuck in my ways.
and it's almost, and I mean this respectfully, but Stan Long, you are like your amazing mother. And if it ain't what you say and y'all's way,
That's not true, Terry, because I yield to you on so many things that I wouldn't do. I celebrated Halloween. I don't give a F about Halloween, and you know it. I don't celebrate none of that shit. And you know I don't. I've been off of that since a youngin', and I did it for you. I put on a costume with a wig, all this other shit. I don't do none of that. We had a pick in my head. All that. You must be crazy. I changed. That's what change look like. That's
and
called
y'all on here
compromise.
saying, they saying it was Stan. How come you wouldn't have? I'm not gonna. I didn't say that he hasn't. I think that he will say he's forgiven me, but I took too
Yeah.
long to change. So this woman that's sitting in front of y'all now, doesn't stand a chance with him because I took too long to get to this point. It doesn't mean he didn't forgive me, though. I guess
Oh
you could
yeah,
speak to
totally.
that.
So I
Because
didn't
people
you
probably don't understand, like, well, if she's this person now and she's doing it now, why he don't want her now?
because my wife waited till our marriage was over to decide she going to adhere to God, and for the whole marriage she was just like this to me. I don't understand why, but this was my wife like this. I'd be like, cause God and this isn't God. And she'd be like this. Boy, get out my face. So, you know, what can you do? So, no disrespect, but the blessing is that she came over to God business and that she started adhering to God. It was a little long winded. It was at the end of our marriage that she decided, but she did decide. And what I'm proud to say is you never turned around.
Nope.
You kept going, right? So that's what made it an assignment. You wasn't necessarily having to be that, but you definitely didn't turn around on God. You
Nope.
stayed the
I never
course.
will.
So that made me feel good to know that I could lead you to God and you could get a relationship with God and even build your family up in God. Because I was adamant with you. I told you I wanted divorce, didn't I? I said, if you don't want to go to God, I don't want you. Didn't I tell you that? If you don't want to be with God, I don't want to be with you. That's what I told you. And I said, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have $216 trillion. I don't care if you fat as a thick as a Snickers. This and that. I ain't gonna do that because I'm gonna keep it good. So what I'm saying is I don't give a dang about
Right,
none of
because you
that.
don't like thicker than Snickers either. That's
Yeah, yes I
another
do.
thing.
What are you talking about?
You
I
you
married
don't.
you. You think it's a Snickers? I married you.
And then afterwards, once I was thick as a Snickers, and then you was like, well, we need to lose some weight.
Well, I didn't say get thicker than a Snickers. I said be thick as a Snickers. And so you get comfortable. That's you again. But let's stay the course. So I accepted all of that, right? I told you what I liked in the beginning. So I was honest. I said I like this and I don't like that.
And
Did I
I was
not?
honest too. I was like, and I don't do this, and I don't do that, and I stood on it for a long time. I told you
Yeah.
too. One thing that I can say before we get off of here, because it's 8:02, is I did tell him up front who I was.
Well, no, you didn't. But anyway, you didn't tell me because you downloaded the Bible app and called me and talked about the Lord and this and that. So you try to act like you was over there, but you was full of shit. So,
But
but
while we
anyway,
got married and you continued to try to get me to do it, I wouldn't. I didn't. And you was like, you got to, you better. And I didn't. I didn't.
no. So what I knew is this. This is what I can tell all of y'all, and I can promise you this. I knew for a fact that God don't lie. And he told me that if Satan, if Terry didn't come over to the side of the fence and get in the word and get with me, that Satan would intervene and rule the house. And that's kind of exactly what happened. So all I'm saying is I didn't expect you to be a fight to come to God. I thought you would willingly come to God. That's what I thought. So that's why I married you because I figured once I put God on you that you would get in line. That's what I thought because God straightened people out. That's how I do. I didn't know you would be stubborn and rebellious as you are. And so I don't even know that you realized you was that daggone stubborn and rebellious until you showed your hand. I don't know that nobody know how stubborn and rebellious you really are because you a sweetheart. So it's kind of weird because you a sweetie, but then you are Terry. I swear to, I never seen nobody that stubborn. So we're gonna wrap it up because I don't even want to get into all of that. Don't even matter. So at the end of the day, you did come to God. It took me a whole marriage to get you to come over there, but I never quit on you, and you can testify. Every month, every week, every year, I try to put that word on you. Did I not? I never stopped. I never
Every
stopped.
day, every
I
day.
never stopped because I knew how important it was to have a mate that loves God and have a relationship. I
But
don't care
I
who you
get
are.
that and I appreciate that. But understand this too before we go. When someone does that, depending on the personality of the person like me, what you continue to do, the way it worked for me, it pushed me further away. It made me never want to do it.
Well, because
Because
you're
you just kept
stubborn.
on, you just kept on, you
Well,
just
you're
kept on,
stubborn. You're
kept on, you just
stubborn.
kept
You're
on. And I
stubborn.
was just like, no, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, see in the Bible they call you stiff necked and wayward. Stiff necked and wayward. That's what they would say. And so the Lord said those are stiff necked people. And that's why he had to punish them because no matter what he said, they didn't want to listen. So no matter what I told you, you didn't want to listen because you're stubborn. I just told you. And so, of course, if you're stubborn and someone's telling you something about God and you don't want to go to God, you're going to buck. It don't matter who you are. If you don't want to do it, you're going to buck. And so you bucked for 7 years. You just were like, hell no. So my whole point is I didn't expect you to be that stubborn is why I was willing to put in the work because I never thought that. I thought that you would adhere to God. I swear I did on everything I love. I never seen it coming because you're so sweet and you have a heart of gold. So I figured those things equate to God. But then you was so anyway, I love you guys. I thank you for being a part of Spotlight Over the City. Me and Terry
Someone
just was
said they
asked.
can't wait for the question for next week because they
I
like,
know.
yes. And
Yeah.
someone
So
said y'all are really helping other couples out here. Being
well that's the
transparent. I
goal.
try to tell Stan that he don't really like for us to tell but I don't care about it. And I
Well, you're the
feel
one
like,
who always want to be personal. I don't like to be personal because I just don't like to be
but
personal.
how can you help other people if you don't share your testimony and be transparent? You can never help. Maybe you could say, "Well, I ain't trying to help other people."
No, I am. That's what I'm
But
here. That's
how
why I
can
have a
we ever
platform.
help other couples avoid the pitfalls that we face if we just be like, well, it's private. We ain't gonna tell them.
Yeah. So what I want y'all to take away, because I'm gonna go watch some football. So what I want y'all to take away tonight is that if you're a couple, do everything you can to be rooted and grounded in God. I don't mean religious, be spiritual. I'm not religious. I've never been a religious guy. Spiritual, really lock in. Try to read the word together, pray together, do the things together that cause spiritual connection. Because Satan will come for you. He don't like unified fronts. So he's going to come for your relationship and try to crumble your relationship. I'm not lying to you. And if you don't have a unified front, it's easy for him to come in one of those doors. Whichever door don't want to be unified, that's the door he'll use. Man, woman, boy, girl, your kids, whoever. He don't give a shit. And so what I'm telling you is if you lock in with God, you'll have a front that he can't come and break through because both of y'all in agreement. And when both of y'all in agreement, then he don't have a house to live in. I said when both of y'all in agreement, he don't have a house to live in. So when God say set your house in order, he talking about this. Your body is the Lord's temple, your house. So set your house in order because we're in some tough times. They cutting a lot of programs. They doing a lot of foolishness. God is really realigning you. He wants you to be self-employed. He wants you to work out your biggest fantasies and dreams and desires and make them come to fruition in this day and time. He wants you to use that last little bit of 401k or whatever the hell you got in there to use it to uproot your business and get it popping and make a whole bunch of millions of dollars that you would never made on your government job. So don't count yourself out, right? Understand that life still goes on and you can bet on you now. So bet on you now. Think of your wildest dreams, something that keeps you up at night, something you're passionate about, and put some money behind it. And that's my spiel for the evening. I'm gonna let y'all go. I want to say, man, never be too cool or too fly to pray. Never be too cool or too fly to pray. God is your source, and He'll make you the plug. And I'm talking about the God in you, not the God you got to look for. He's in you. Close your eyes and do that, and you'll find out that the God you've been searching for is inside of you. All right? So I want to make you guys understand that because it's very important in these days. All right? Love hard,
Yes.
live good,
God.
God first. Spotlight over the city. I love you guys.
Good night, y'all. Love y'all.
We gone.